And here we are, our next guest, Mr. Ben Witte from Recess. How are you, sir?
Doing well, thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me. Good to see you.
So, Recess, tell us the quick version of it. What is Recess?
Yeah, Recess is a consumer wellness brand. We create products like our CBD-infused sparkling water and experiences like Recess IRL, designed to help people feel balanced, centered, and inspired so they can be their most productive and creative self.
Brilliant. Sign me up. That sounds great.
Thank you.
Well, is this, so we're, I want to talk to you because we're seeing, obviously, CBD is a major trend, and I think people look at brands like yours, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the success you've had in getting distribution and sort of building. But my question is just, when you look around, how do you feel we're at in terms of proving CBD as a legitimate beverage concept that's going to be around for a while? Are we just starting? Are we there already? What do you think?
I think we're just starting, and I definitely think CBD is here to stay. I think there's some confusion in terms of how to use it and how to market it. Our approach is to market the solution and take a brand-first approach and not the ingredient. I view CBD as really the caffeine of the 21st century, and just like Red Bull didn't market caffeine and taurine, it marketed Red Bull gives you wings. Recess is marketing this idea of taking an opportunity to reset and rebalance so you can be your most productive and creative self. Our tagline is calm, cool, collected. And the way I think about this is they don't call it the caffeine category, they call it the energy category. And similarly, I think CBD unlocks a feeling, and we're focused on the anti-stress components, the anti-anxiety components, and things like that.
Now, when you go around and you talk to people and talk to consumers and interested in the product, how do you feel we're doing on that consumer education in terms of just, in your conversations, are people generally a good level of awareness? Or?
Yeah, I've been pleasantly surprised at how much awareness there is about the ingredient and how acceptable it already is around the country. Recess might feel like New York City, LA hipster brand, but I can tell you a significant part of our sales are from all over the country, and in particular the Midwest. We see demand from retailers and distributors around the world, and so I really believe this category is here to stay, and that what CBD enables is a kind of a universal value proposition, just like energy is. So we really see this as the next big kind of functional beverage category, like energy drinks.
And you mentioned the IRL, the sort of installation in New York. For people who haven't had a chance, I mean, it must be seen to really be appreciated. But what was sort of the unifying concept there, design-wise? What were you trying to get to people to experience?
So again, we were taking an approach to kind of market the feeling of taking a recess. Our marketing strategy to date has been pretty much exclusively focused on organic Instagram content that we create, and I wanted to kind of create a space in the heart of New York City that conveyed the emotion of the brand, that felt like you were walking into our Instagram, that provided you an opportunity to come take a recess during the craziness of life in New York City. That was a community gathering place for kind of the creative class in New York where we could host events. And so we did it for a variety of reasons, but sales being least importantly. It's really kind of a marketing brand thing, but it's worked out better than we could have ever expected.
I mean, with something like that, I wonder, does that raise the bar for your next installation or your next pop-up type thing? Because it can only get bigger and better from there, right?
I would think so. I mean, I basically woke up one morning and called my friend Fritz, who was 24 years old, and we kind of built that together. And so we created that with relatively little resources. And so yeah, I think there's a whole lot more we can do in the future.
And it's interesting you brought up the sort of geographical difference. For something like that, sort of this creative New York-centric kind of thing, do you have to adjust the sort of messaging, or do you have to tweak a little bit when you're going to different places, outside of maybe the coast and trying to develop that Midwest? Yeah,
it's something we're thinking through a lot, but I think more importantly, the idea of taking a recess is a universal idea. I don't think stress and anxiety is something that's limited to just the coasts. I don't think the desire to be creative is either. I think everyone wants to feel calm, wants to feel balanced, and wants to feel productive and creative. And I think that's a universal idea, and we will be able to kind of convey that no matter where we are.
And you talk about distribution. Obviously, that's a big part for this entire category. And you guys have been notable, obviously, getting into Big Geyser and sort of making gains in one of those brands that is really sort of prominently out there. What are some of the things that you guys are looking to do distribution-wise, sort of moving forward? And secondly, what are some of the things that you think need to happen distribution-wise for the category to sort of make that next step?
Yeah, so we're 7 months old. Within a few weeks, we knew we had something. We knew we had a product that consumers loved, how it tasted and made them feel, a brand that they felt like understood them, in a category that was rapidly emerging. So our plan was to really spend time to kind of build out an executive team, build out the supply chain to enable kind of hyper growth in the second half of this year. And that's kind of where we are right now. We're getting ready to launch Los Angeles next week and are planning to launch 9 new markets this year. In terms of how I see the kind of category playing out, I think there's some confusion in terms of where it's going to live on the shelf. I think CBD is going to be something like caffeine that goes across category, but it's also its own category. And I think you'll see various brands emerge to focus on specific value propositions. Like we're focused on utilizing CBD and adaptogenic herbs to help you feel kind of calm and balanced. But I think there's another opportunity to just focus on like a fitness recovery use case or before a bed use case. So I think you'll see kind of other brands kind of pop up for those specific consumption occasions, and I think we can play in a lot of them as well.
So you guys, that's something that you guys are maybe exploring, like different use occasions or products that sort of work in different areas?
Yes. I think the most interesting learning from Recess so far is that there's a audience of people that literally drinks it at every waking hour of the day. Some people drink a Recess when they get up in the morning to start their day feeling calm. Some people drink it before bed to go to sleep. The core use case and the brand positioning was designed for between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. as kind of a productivity idea. It works both on-premise and off-premise. It's a great substitute for alcohol as well as mixer with alcohol. And so we're already seeing that with just our first product line and our first kind of 3 flavor SKUs. But over time, you could see us developing specific products for each kind of Recess occasion. So that could be a plain water with CBD. That could be a dissolvable tablet. That could be something you add to coffee or cocktails. The big idea of Recess is, again, the idea of taking a recess. Our website and our Instagram is takearecess.com, not drink recess. And so the vision, is to create Recess you consume in your body and Recess you consume in your mind, like our Instagram, like Recess IRL. And they're all really of equal importance to kind of our mission and our brand.
Absolutely. Well, as the landscape is changing, I wonder too, how have your conversations with, maybe investors or sort of people who are financial sort of interests in there, like how are they sort of changing the way they think about CBD and developing that?
It's been a fascinating 12 months since I've been working on this to see kind of people's perception of the ingredient and the kind of the forming category, and then kind of get up to speed on the regulatory side of things. I've always taken the kind of regulatory stuff very serious, and we're very proactive now in kind of engaging on these issues, and we see this all moving very positively in the right direction, and we think it's kind of net beneficial for Recess because we're able to kind of navigate some of this kind of gray area and kind of arrive on the other side as we think kind of the category defining brand.
And you talked about sort of different ways you can go for use occasion and stuff like that. One thing that I've always been curious about with CBD products is, do you guys have to consider sort of tolerance levels? Like if someone is drinking Recess 3 times a day, are they going to sort of get that same feeling? Is that come into play?
I mean, I drink like 6 Recess a day, so I think I've always thought the subtlety of CBD is an advantage, not a disadvantage. When I first started working on this, a lot of people would say, that we're using CBD oil, like I don't feel anything, and I was like, well, that's because you're comparing it to marijuana or alcohol. When I used CBD, it was something I took throughout my day as kind of a productivity enhancer. And so, we have 10 milligrams of CBD within our full spectrum hemp extract that we include in Recess. And, it's a personal thing, right? Like some people can't have coffee, others can have 4 coffees a day, including 1 before bed. And so I think it's, you have to determine your own kind of tolerance by kind of testing. But we're not trying to compete on the most amount of CBD in a particular can. That's not what we're trying to kind of lean into. Just like, again, I don't believe that Red Bull and Monster competed on how much caffeine and taurine were in a can, right? It's all about the brand and kind of formulating the right feeling through a combination of functional ingredients.
And that's interesting too for the experience that you're going after. I mean, like, would something like caffeine be appropriate for a recess drink?
For sure. I still drink. I still use caffeine. I drink an iced coffee every morning when I wake up, and I really like the complementing caffeine with CBD. And so, in the distant future, you could see us creating kind of a cold brew coffee recess SKU potentially.
Awesome. Well, Ben, thank you so much for joining us in the Livestream Studio. We're about to head back upstairs.
Thank you.
Just want to give a quick thank you to our Livestream sponsors, Zuckerman Honickman, and up next is Zach Normandin, founder and CEO of Iris Nova. My name is Marty Caballero. Thanks for joining us. See you later.